Hello and good afternoon, and welcome to CTA Quick Bites. My name is Vinay Sharma, and I am the host for this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, all the viewers, we have a very important topic that we would be discussing today, and the topic is the skills gap, which exists, and which also becomes so essential, both for people who are aspiring to to get into this industry, to find a suitable job in this industry. And it also is essential for employers to find those skills in people they want to recruit. So if we do not have these skills, it becomes a dilemma for both the candidate wanting to get into this industry, and it's a dilemma even for the employers because they don't find the right candidate then. And the skills are essential because you can't pour from an empty cup. You need to have these skills to be able to perform in this industry. So to speak more about the skills gap that exists and the kind of skills that we require, we have a very important guest today, to speak on this topic. Our guest is a self-made HR personnel with 2 decades of experience in the hospitality industry. Started his career back in 2001 with the Hyatt Regency in food production as a pre-opening team member of the Hyatt. Then worked with brands like Lalit, the Sarovar Group, the Intercontinental, Ambuja Neotia, and spent a considerable time with the Carnival Cruise Lines at Miami, USA. Presently, he is working as as the HR manager, the human resources manager of Elementary Hotels in Kolkata, and has joined this and had joined this property as a pre-opening team member again. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Rishabh Haldar.
Thank you, Vinay. Very good
Mr. Haldar,
afternoon.
yes, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. And I think I was just trying to look how many people is there.
I don't think we will be able to see that, but a lot of
Okay,
people watching us live on Facebook and on YouTube, sir. And
okay,
then this goes live on Instagram also.
okay,
And
Vinay.
most of our viewers, Mr. Haldar, would be our own trainees and a lot of people who follow us on our social media pages.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So thank you so much, first of all, Mr. Haldar, for joining us and taking time out. And it is such an important topic, and I'm sure our viewers are looking forward to hear a lot from you and from your experience. So, since the topic is skills and the skills gap that exists, Mr. Haldar, why don't we just start by explaining our viewers what skills are pertaining to our industry and why they are so important?
Yeah, certainly. Vinay, before we start talking, clarifying your questions, there are two, three
Hmm.
things which I just want to highlight to your viewers. First is we work in an industry called hospitality industry. And at
Right.
this pandemic stage, our industry, I would say that it has gone on a toss, but it is not the same. It is not the same as earlier it used to be. But
Right.
now our industry has become more professional, more sophisticated, and more guest oriented.
Hmm.
So last few decades, way back, let's assume from 1947 after independence, how the hotel trend had been moving. Now after 2020, the thing has completely changed. The concept has changed. The mindset of owners, mindset of hotel industry, the investor, everything has changed. So now at this stage, we and the coming stage will see a completely new side of a hospitality industry. Not only in India, it's around the globe too.
Wonderful. Right.
This is the first thing which I want to share. Now, let me come back to your question. What about the skill? What is skill? If I have to talk in a very nutshell, skill is one way of working or the possessing to complete a task.
Correct.
way of completing to possess a task is called a skill. Everybody
Mhm.
has a different skill. The skill what Vinay you would be having, that's a skill I may not have. So this skill, any kind of skill which we see around what people is having, we have to learn it and slowly incorporate in our day-to-day work, and slowly we keeping ourselves polished. So skill is
Right.
basically the trade what we have it in ourselves, and every now and then we have to keep polishing it to be on the track. Next is, let me come to the part, the skill, why skill is very important for this. Why skill is important, let me come to a word which would suit in this scenario, is survival for the fittest.
Right.
Survival for the
Right.
fittest would suit in this scenario.
Right.
Today, if I don't polish my skill and keep my skill updated, I won't be able to survive. It can be hospitality industry, airlines industry, or any industry, even an IT industry. Today, more practice I do,
Mhm.
or more the skill I develop in my work, I survive. A person who does not get their skill polished, he will not survive in future. So
Right.
to close your question about the skill, why skill is important to survive in the industry, any industry, skill has to be the main source.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. 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 I think very well explained. As the skills are the mainstay, and I think I mean, you put it very clearly, very straightforwardly that without skills, it is even difficult to survive in this
Yeah.
industry, right? So I think
Any industry.
any industry for that matter, absolutely,
Yeah.
for that matter, any industry, right? So having understood that the skills are essential and without which we cannot even survive, would you like to name out a few skills that you feel are essential to be able to succeed? Uh, not only while we are working, but even if we want to gain an entry into this industry.
Okay. So again, in hospitality or the industry in which I am,
Mhm.
so practically in a hospitality, we don't have any product to sell. Like today,
Yeah,
you go to an automobile industry, you buy a car. You go to a stationery industry, you buy a stationery good, which can be a pen or pencil. But in a hospitality, what you sell? We just sell emotion. Don't you think that, Vinay?
absolutely, absolutely,
So today,
absolutely. And
let's assume today, Vinay, let somebody in your family is having a celebration. That could be a birthday celebration or an anniversary. When you go out to a restaurant, if the person is very courteous, helpful, and they keep or cater all your needs, but the food is not good, would you appreciate him or wouldn't you appreciate him?
no, I got your
You
point.
would appreciate him stating that you made my day, irrespective the
Yeah,
food might be not so good or not to your palate.
agreed,
But
agreed.
so practically, what are we selling? We are selling emotion.
Right.
So today, if I have to survive in my industry, I have to sell the emotion and make the person, whoever he or she comes to me, to have the best time of him of the day. That can be for a function, or he or she stays for a longer period of time.
Right, right,
So today, to get this thing done, to make anybody's to play with anybody's emotion, so obviously you should have the skill to speak, you should have the skill to make convince people, so you can
right,
understand by how the skill is correlated with your product.
right, right, right. Got it, got it, sir. Got it.
So another thing is that name few skill. So if I have to jot down few skill, first is you have to be very good in speaking,
Mm,
very good in
mm,
speaking, playing with your
mhm,
words. You should
mhm,
be able to convince people. You should be
mhm,
courteous.
mhm.
Courteous. Next is you should know what the person's need is at that time and
Right.
close the need of that person.
Mhm,
So
mhm,
even you may not have the product to give him. Like today, if I go to a Chinese restaurant and I ask for an Indian food. After ordering a Chinese dishes, I asked for, okay, can you arrange a firni? If I have to say no, I should not say on my face, on that person's face, on a blind saying, sir, I don't have. I should be very courteous, say, sir, since we are a Chinese restaurant, why don't you try a Chinese food? Chinese dessert, this
Correct.
would be an appreciable thing for your function. So where I'm saying
Right.
him a no, but in a very courteous way. So he's not offended.
Right. Right.
So you can
Right.
understand the skills what I'm trying to brief you for the question you have asked me.
I understand. I understand, sir. Right. Now, Mr. Haldar, you interview so many
Yeah.
people, right?
Yeah.
What skills, which you are actually looking for, and you don't find them, which are essential, but most of the people, or many people, you find them lacking them.
Okay. So the question what you asked me is really because I'm on the other side of the seat. Normally, how you have been asking me, that's the part where I be. So whenever I sit for an interview for an interview and ask the first question, I make the person comfortable. See, a
Right.
person, if the person is not comfortable, he will not be able to give his 100%. He will
Agreed.
not be
Agreed.
able to give his
Agreed.
100%. Even if the
Mhm.
person is well aware of his topic, if I don't make him comfortable, he will become nervous and he won't be able to he or she won't be able to speak out. So the
Mhm.
first
Mhm.
part is make the person comfortable. Next is when I interact, I try to see how much the person is listening and how much the person is inquisitive about the job, about the job, and what is the positive attitude he have.
Mhm.
Normally, when I start an interview, if the person says, okay, I cannot travel much, so that itself gives a negative vibe in me that this guy is not so flexible. So whenever
Correct.
you sit for an interview, I would say that the candidate, they should be always on a positive note, because today's date we cannot be a chooser. We cannot be a chooser. So today whatever comes on your platter, one should pick it up, and later on you start molding it or trying to look out for new things.
Mhm.
So always whenever I sit for an interview, the first thing I see is how much the positivity the candidate has. Next is um when the person has a positivity. So for me, it is not a hard time to choose the right candidate, but it is not always you always hit a target at the first batting. So what happens is whenever you see candidates who are not so positivity, who does not have a positive thought, so this is what keeps me lacking, and which I think that that's not a perfect thing for an any candidate.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Okay. So attitude basically sometimes
Yes, the
can
positive
become the
attitude.
factor.
As soon as the person has a positive attitude, the person can go anywhere in his career growth. Even a person with a positive attitude, within 2 years, he can be a GM of a hotel.
Wow. 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 That's really nice to hear. Yeah. So yeah, I think attitude uh, will decide where you reach. And it
Yes.
is said that 85% of your success will depend on the
Yeah.
attitude that you carry. Right. Why do you think, Mr. Haldar, that people, we all know that we have to be positive and we need to be, practicing positivity. But why do you think a lot of youngsters kind of lack it or are not exhibiting that positivity while you being interviewed?
Okay. See, Vinay, we are since we are not from this generation, and I think all of your viewers would be from this generation.
Mostly
Yes.
millennials, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let me come to one starting a few points which I would like to highlight. First is today's date, mobiles, internet, and communication has become a tip of our finger. If I have
Right.
to find out a place, let's assume Scandinavia. In our time, if I had to find a Scandinavia, what we used to do? We used to open up our atlas,
Atlas,
check
yeah.
out, go to an index, see what is the word Scandinavia, then we see the latitude, longitude, and then we come to the page, and then we find out the location of that place. And today's
Right.
this millennial guys, what they do? If you have to ask, okay, find me Alaska, he or she would just open up a mobile, type Alaska, and the Alaska page is up there. So in our time, we had to go to each pages, keep
Right.
polishing our brain, use our brain
Right.
to come to a
Right.
conclusion or come to
Right.
the result. But over here, you just type the result and everything comes out. So this is
Hmm.
what is happening in an industry. Today's date, when I started a career, when I started my career as a chef, we were on the first day of the training. Even I think you must have gone through on the first day of the training in kitchen or service. What were given to us? 25 kilo of onion, you peel it, or potato, you peel it. If you are in a service, you start wiping your glasses or plates, which to
Right.
complete the task, it would have taken us about 3 to 4 hours. Yes
Absolutely.
or no?
Absolutely.
Now, at this scenario, if our IT goes to a hotel, we ask him, okay, go peel up onion. What he has to do? He has to tear the bag. You have a machine called peeler. You put it in
Yeah.
it, and it is out. So the person, he has never seen what exactly how to peel an onion. Today, if I have to say
Right.
a person, okay, what is the yield of an potato? He won't be able to find even what is an yield. First thing is, so yield kya hota hai? That's the first question they would ask.
Uh,
But in
right.
our time, since we have been peeling the potato, we know how much. Okay, if the
Yes.
potato is about 50 grams, I know if I peel it out, I would get 30 grams. So today's
Right.
this communication technology has, to be very frank, technology is boon as well as it has
Boom.
created some negative side for our hospitality field.
Right.
Today, even a
Right.
person has to clean up a wipe up plate. What he does, he goes to a plate wiper, put them in it. At a time, 30 plates get wiped and it comes out.
Yeah. So I think they are
So
used to things becoming easy for them.
yeah, so this is something which is people at this present time for last 10 years, not yeah, about 10 years, I see the employee whom I have been recruiting in our hospitality segment in F&B or
Hmm.
kitchen or so-called engineering. I see this is something which is lacking. Today's date, even I've seen
Hmm.
engineers in engineering department. If I say a boy, okay, just do some electrical work where you have to bypass some thing, the guy says, "Sir, I don't know how to do that," because he has seen only one way of step. But earlier, if you see
Right.
old school boys, okay, this is not working. Let me go to another part where I can. So in our hospitality world, we say jugaad.
Right.
So today's date in hospitality, where jugaad is a very very important aspect, that is lacking.
Hmm.
So I think I have
Agreed.
made myself very much to the point why
Uh,
what are the things is lacking at present in our industry now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely, sir. I think uh, we've made our youngsters, things have become quite easy for them and they are always looking for easy
Slave to
things.
the communication or slave to the easiest way.
Right. Easiest. Correct. Yeah. So please, 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 all of you listening to us, there are no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts, please. Okay. Please, don't go for shortcuts. Mr. Haldar, you
Yeah.
explained that point very well. Now I want to come to, I really want you to explain to our viewers two
Hmm.
skills, that I would really want you to touch upon.
Hmm.
The skill of communication and the skill of grooming, being well groomed because our industry
Yeah,
requires well groomed people. So if you could just touch on those 2 points, please.
certainly. So when I had started, I think I had spoken for the second question when you had asked me few skills for our success in our industry.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct. Right.
So in that point, I had said you that we play with emotions. Our
Right. Right.
product, what we sell is emotion. So if I have to sell any emotion, what is the first point of contact it is? It's the how you communicate.
Communicate, right?
So if I don't have a proper way of communication, even if I
Mhm.
am the best person, I may be very, very kind by heart, I won't be able to do my work properly. So let me come to how do I explain you is uh, I may be a person who is very humble. I'm a God loving person. I never say a lie. But way of speaking for me might be harsh. My way of
Mhm.
speaking of throwing the words might be a little rude. Like is where do I say like please go instead of saying please go I say go.
Yeah, yeah,
So you can see my tone of saying please go and go are both of them are the same, but the way of how I had thrown the pace, those had been different. So
right.
Vinayji, just say me which like to go, which one would you accept? The first one or the second
Please,
one?
please go. Of course, please go.
Please go because everybody wants a polite word to be heard, not a harsh word.
Absolutely.
So
Correct.
today's date in our product, which is emotion, you have to be polite and your communication has to be so good, so polite, so that person he or she will get mended to what you are trying to explain it to them or what you are trying to sell it to them. Today, when we go to a
Right.
restaurant or when we go to a hotel, we spend there for certain time. That could be for an hour or for a
Right.
couple of days. But after a couple of days, we keep that in our mind only for a month or 6 months. And after 6 months, we completely forget that where the place we had been or the food what we have eaten.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But what
Correct.
we always keep remembering, the person who had served us, the person who had spoken to me, the person who had showed me the place. That is what we
Mhm.
remember. So even that
Mhm.
happens, even after 50 years, when you go back to that place, you will remember
Agreed.
the person who had spoken to you. You won't remember
Yeah,
what you
absolutely.
had eaten. So
Absolutely.
communication plays a very, very vital part for our product.
Right. Right.
So our product is, again, I would reframe our words. It is emotion, what we sell.
Right.
So even in major
Absolutely.
ads of big, big hotels, what you will see a lot of words with emotion. The product what sell, they say it's emotion what we sell.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. People never forget
And
how you
now,
make
yeah, the next part what you have asked me is about grooming.
booming. Right.
Yeah, over here Hindi word that comes very close to me. जो दिखता है वो बिकता है.
Okay. Yes.
So today's date, a person, Mr. Our president, I will not go and I'm not disrespecting any person over here. I'm not disrespecting any person, nor going to their personal thought. Today, when our Dr. Abul Kalam, when he stands and next to him Mr. Clinton or let's Barack Obama stands, first I whom do we see? Whom would we see first? Obviously, we will see the gentleman who is well dressed in a tie,
Yeah. Suited. Booted. Right.
suited, booted. So that's what we are. I'm not talking about because Abdul Kalam, if I have to speak about him, it will take ages and none of us would even be to his finger because he is such
Absolutely.
a person.
Absolutely.
हम लोग
Absolutely.
उसके हाथ का धूल के बराबर भी नहीं है.
Correct. Correct.
So, but what happens is when I had just put those two people in front, a person who is well groomed, first our eye goes to him. And later on, we see the person who, what is his education or any kind of study part, which it is, his achievements are.
Mhm.
But always, so
Mhm.
to come to that, always anything we go, even we go to a market, पहले जो देखते हैं पहले कोई भी चीज खरीदने का पहले उसका बॉक्सिंग कैसा है what is the how the
Yeah.
box looks, how the
Right.
appearance looks. We don't see what is inside.
Correct.
So
Correct.
grooming holds a major, major part in our industry. So अगर
Right.
अंदर का पार्ट भी अच्छा रहा, जो communication, courteousness, obviously that organization goes way ahead.
Right. Right. Very, and I mean, it's very, very clear, and I think you explained it again very well, Mr. Haldar.
Thank you,
Uh,
Vinay ji.
yeah, thank you so much, for explaining it in that manner. Uh, Now, you as an HR manager, okay, how
Yeah.
challenging does it get for you to get a right candidate? I mean, sometimes it must be very challenging that you're trying, but you're not getting the right candidate. Has it happened? Does it happen?
Yes, it happens. Every day is not a Sunday. Every day is not a
Right.
Sunday. Yeah, even I had
Uh,
days where I had to find a very serious candidate, a very serious department candidate, HOD. For me, it took hardly one interview. And that day
okay.
was so
Oh.
lucky. I had just posted in one of the social media. I got three
Mhm,
CVs. I called the three. I
mhm,
called all the three CVs. The person who had applied. One of the CV which I liked, I called him. I said, "Okay, can you come down for the interview?" He came. By evening, maximum I must have worked for about 6 hours. Within 6 hours, I could close the candidate, issue him his offer letter, and complete my work. This is one of the scenario which I had, which I said every day is not a Sunday. So that day was my Sunday.
Sunday, all right.
There has been time which even has taken me 8 months to get a right candidate.
Oh my God.
Right candidate, 8 months.
Uh,
So, because every day you cannot judge a person. Today's date, even a marriage, if a marriage, well, when a man and a wife get married, even after spending about 40 years, people get divorced.
right.
Best example is Amir Khan.
Right.
He had spent about 15 years with the first wife, divorce हुआ, second wife again divorce हुआ. So you can understand, दो बार शादी करने के बाद भी he was not able to find the right person to spend his life. So
To carry on,
all,
yeah.
and we are an employee. So do you think I judge a person within next 10 or 15 minutes whether the person will stick with the organization or whether the candidate is going to be a productive candidate?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
the position which was I was asked to look, I had interviewed not less than 60 to 70 candidates on the first phase, out of which I got
But
a
yet,
guy.
acha, okay.
Yeah, but I
But
got a
yet you
guy
did not
person.
find the. Okay, you got one. You got one.
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
I got after the
Okay.
50th candidate, I got the one person. He
Mhm,
worked.
mhm,
He worked for hardly 4 days, and he quit.
mhm,
So
mhm,
I understood why the person quit. Again,
mhm,
I went on for man hunting person. Another
mhm,
20
mhm,
25 CVs I found. Next
mhm.
person, he worked for next another 20 25 days or a month. Again, he quit. So that had been continuously for 6 months. So there was a time when my HOD, my seniors were saying, Rishabh, एक बंदा तुम ढूंढ नहीं पा रहे हो who can stay for more than a month. Even there were even bets happening around. Whether okay, this candidate is going to stay for another 25 days. Chalo, paisa lagao. So you can understand the pressure at that time. What kind of
Ah,
pressure
yeah,
you daily you
yeah,
come and you come. Okay, my HOD or my the reporting HOD of that department. What the question is going to ask? Has the candidate come?
yeah.
So I had become a laughing stock at that time. But when I found a right candidate with the right
Mhm.
attitude and who stayed for the prolonged time, I had a big relief.
Right, of course.
So as an HR, every day is not a Sunday. Sometimes you hit the note at the first note itself, and sometimes it takes time.
Fine. Correct. Right. So we all, I mean, those are your challenges, to find the right candidate, and
Yeah,
it can take 8 months to get the right candidate. I mean, that's how critical it can become. Now, if I talk about first impressions, Mr. Haldar,
yeah,
uh, I have heard, that HR managers, like almost 70% of, whether they want to take a person or not. Okay, is
Hmm.
some of them, or sometimes they decide right from the candidate, walking through the door and coming up to the interview table. It means they have kind of decided in the first few seconds, whether, or maybe they feel that this candidate is right or this is not. Does it happen with you also, that in the first instance only you kind of have a feeling this is the right candidate?
Yeah, if I have to say it in honest way,
Mhm.
about 30% I would say, not 100% I get the positive vibe. It is about
Okay.
30% I get.
Okay.
Now, when a person comes in,
Mhm.
what did I say you like? जब भी कोई whenever there is a marriage, it does not get noted within spending a long time. So I'm a human. I'm a human. So
Absolutely.
even for me to judge a person at that time, it would be immaterial. Immaterial and um, even more than immaterial, I would not be doing a proper justice.
Agreed.
Until
Agreed.
otherwise, I spend a time with him or her for a couple of days, 2 or 3 rounds of interview. Then only I can, by the time I get comfortable or I understand the person exactly what is his need or her need, whether he's really this job is needed, then only I can get the confirmation whether the
Uh,
person will stick with me or not. It is not always at the same time
yeah.
the person enters and it's okay, this is the guy, he's in.
Okay. Okay.
Because even I had, yes, when I started my career as an HR, there were some times that when a person comes in, I say, okay, this is a candidate, we are closing it. But I see that candidate becomes a negative side. The person hardly he works for about a week or so and he leaves. But for me, I had the perception that this guy is going to stick. But even
Right.
there has been time where a guy with a shabby, without any knowledge, he comes and he sticks for a longer time. A person whom I have
Mm.
judged that is going to leave within couple of days, those person sticks for a longer time. So for me to judge
Ah,
at that time is immaterial or not doing
it-
a justice to that
right.
place at that time.
Right. 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 You need time to spend with someone to understand that person. And
Yes.
uh, my next question would be, Mr. Haldar, have you been in a situation where maybe there is a single position, you have
Yeah.
multiple applications for that, and then you have liked more than one person for that position, and then you were in a dilemma. Who do I
Hmm.
now choose? Who do I decide to pick up? Has it happened?
Yeah, Mr. Vinay, I think you have got me on the correct point, and this is what I'm going through at this present moment. At this
Okay.
present moment,
Uh-huh.
for last Monday, this is a real fact which I'm sharing it to you since we are on live. Last Monday in my LinkedIn, I had posted I'm looking out for AM sales,
Okay.
assistant manager sales for our hotel in Kolkata.
Mhm,
In my inbox,
mhm,
I have still now, just now as I was discussing, there were 2 or 3 CVs which was popping. Till now, about 896 CVs which has come to me.
my God.
896, out of which
Okay.
200 CVs are people who have been working in the who's and who brand of hospitality industry.
Mhm, 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 mhm,
And they are ready to come down to the salary which I have posted.
mhm, mhm, mhm,
And those people, what I have seen in the market, they have been the productive. If anybody had to rate them out of 100, they would be rated in 90 or 80, between 90 to 100. Those people would be rated. Those kind of
my
profile
God.
I'm having now. Now I'm not able to select which person to be taken. Even my DOS as well as my GM, everybody in a dilemma. Whom should we take? So
Okay.
now this scenario comes in. So what we do is normally we do a reference check. When such kind of things comes, we try to do a very strong referral check. Normally earlier we used to do a referral check of 2 people. But at
Okay.
this scenario, we try to do a very scrutinized referral check. So when you do a
Mhm.
scrutinized referral check, if the person is wrong by even 1 point, that comes out. If the person is
Uh-huh.
very clear, we
Mhm.
recruit that person. So today's date, whenever a person leaves a job, which I would say that to the people who are watching us live, and I think they would be joining the industry in couple of years or couple of months. My advice
Right.
to them is whenever you join a job and leave the job with proper dignity and with all the clearance. What happens? So next job where you go, the person is going to do a referral check. And in referral check, if there is even a small dispute which comes across, you won't get that dream job what you had applied in the next organization. So my earnest
Right.
request, which all normally in this young generation people, when they find a new job, they just quit the other old job without even information. That should not happen.
Right. Right.
So next,
Right.
whichever dream job he or she would be getting. So if there is a
Mhm.
referral check and they find a dispute, then you understand where the position the person would be.
Correct. 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 So very important advice there for all those who listening to us. I mean, uh, not leaving an organization properly could actually become detrimental uh,
Yeah,
to your next job also. Mr. Haldar, you've already touched the point of having the right attitude and being positive in my previous
yeah.
questions. However, I would want to again, for the benefit of all those listening, how do you assess somebody's attitude? I mean, it is for me. It is. I mean, I can't even comprehend. Like 15, 20 minutes. How do you assess somebody's attitude? How do you do that?
Okay. You want to know the secret or you want to know only goody goody word?
Oh, tell us the secret.
Okay. So see, at today's date, whenever a candidate comes, you have to give him or her the space because today he is coming to you for that interview. So when he
Mhm,
comes to you, for him the whole place, the environment is not as per to the candidate. He is coming to a completely new environment. For him, the place of sitting or the AC or the light would not be as per to that candidate's thought. When he comes, he may have a solution. Okay, I'm going to an HR's office. I'm going to have a seat which is of red in color. But as soon as he comes, he sees that he's going to sit on a stool. So practically, the confidence what the person is having before entering, obviously his confidence is down. Again,
mhm,
next is
mhm,
if I be really rude or if I show a negative or I create a barrier of my communication. Another place where he loses his confidence, and by
mhm.
the time he goes to the third question, the person is nowhere. The person is nowhere. So as an HR, I don't try to do that. I give him them the space first. Whenever the person comes, I ask him, okay, you want the interview to be done in my office or you want to get the interview done in a restaurant? That's since I have a restaurant in my hotel, I take him there. Or I take him anywhere. I say, okay, you want to go to the pool area and you want to have an interview? I make the person comfortable first. So when the
Wow.
person gets comfortable, he or she, whatever is the inner feeling he has or whatever inner thought he has for that time, at that
Mhm,
situation, what kind of interview questions are going to come? He becomes
mhm.
comfortable and he gives the best. If the person has
That-
the capability, he walks, he does a cakewalk. If the person does not have the capability, even after becoming so much comfortable, then the person goes nowhere with me in my organization.
Right. 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 Got it. So you do your bit by
So,
making them comfortable. Then it all depends on
yeah.
the candidate how he comes across. And Mr. Haldar, we're getting a lot of comments. Uh,
Okay.
they feel
Comments are
that
there?
yeah. I mean, maybe you, but I'm getting to see them that they're very appreciating your honest answers. They feel that
Okay.
these are not like goody things happening. I mean, they are being very honest about the way things are. And thank you so much, Mr. Haldar, for your answers. Uh,
Yeah.
Mr. Haldar, okay, I know we've taken almost a lot of time from you, but I'll put one last
Yeah.
question for you, and for the
Yeah.
benefit of all those listening, aspiring to join this
Mm,
industry, and
mm,
all those who listening to us, please, okay, I ask question on your behalf so that we can put Mr. Haldar in a dilemma again, where he has to,
mm.
fight, like who do I choose now? So what advice, Mr. Haldar, would you give to all those listening? You know, what skills should they be working on if they come to you for an interview to you? How do they make themselves a standout candidate? What should they come prepared with for an interview?
Okay. Now, if I'm taking the interview for your students or your viewers, first thing a person when he comes to me, be yourself. Be yourself. Don't try to
Hmm.
put a mask, because end of the day, today's date, when the person is sitting in front of me, that's a place I have been sitting about 20 years ago, or even 3 years ago. When I had joined Lemon Tree, obviously nobody had come with a thali and said me, okay, this is Lemon Tree, you join in. Obviously, I had to sit for an interview. So when I sat for the interview, I had a different kind of thoughts and different kind of perception. So I had to convince the person who was talking to me. So I'm a product, please take me. So the same way, when the person sits in front of me, the he or she has to have couple of things which I would look into. First is how the positivityness, which I have been always saying in the second or the third point, I don't remember.
Yeah, yeah.
Positivity. Next is be yourself. Be
Hmm.
yourself.
Hmm.
So today's date, if you are not able to speak English, if you are not so good in English, don't try to act that you know to speak English, because that acting
Hmm.
will take you hardly for another 2 or 3 minutes. You won't be able to survive for the next 10 minutes. So you be
Right.
frank. Say, I don't know English. The English what I know is this English. So what happens is I would start speaking to you in the language in which you are comfortable. For me, end of the day, I have to find what is the skill you are having in you. Whether you will be
Right.
able to s- convince a person in whichever department you're going to be. If you are an F&B, whether you'll be able to carry 10 plates or 12 plates, you will be able to do a proper clearance, or you will be able to talk to a guest properly. That's what I'll be looking. I won't be looking how you will be communicating to me or how you are trying to cover yourself. That I won't be looking. By the time
Hmm.
you keep covering one mistake to another mistake to another mistake, and finally at a stage where it would come, I would say, okay, thank you, the interview is over.
Yeah,
Even the
absolutely.
person may have a very good skill, I would just stop it over there.
Right.
So the second point for me is be yourself. And the
Right.
third point is be positive. Be positive. Be positive. And if there's any kind of, okay, let's give a try. If you don't give a try, you will not know what the second stage is.
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
And be honest. Because
Right.
today's date, you try to cover one word, one statement. To cover that statement, you require 10 statement. And obviously today working, you or me working, when we take an interview, obviously we have an experience of certain years. So those experience means those experience is the people whom we have interacted. So obviously at one or point you would bump into the person who is sitting to find a feedback what the guy is or he is or her.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I think I must have made myself clear on the point what you have asked me.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Mr. Haldar. And I think for everybody listening, I think, some very, very important suggestions and advice being given by Mr. Haldar today. And let's, for my advice again, keep working on your skills. Let's give Mr. Haldar a tough time, so that he is in a dilemma. Who do I choose? Right? So that's for
Uh,
all of us, right? And please, remember Mr. Haldar's advice. Keep working on your skills. Be a standout candidate, and excel. Mr.
and
Haldar, thank you
honest.
so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You almost gave an hour of your time for us. Thank you so much. And
Certainly,
we wish you
certainly,
all the
Vinayji.
best. And we hope we can get you back again sometime with another topic, and you are as honest as you were today, and people get to hear the right things. So that is very important. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you, Dr.
time.
Sharma.
And yeah, I can just thank you enough for having given us more time than we requested for. But
It
thank you
was my
from all
pleasure.
of us at PPA. Thank you, sir.
It
Thank
was
you.
my pleasure.
All right,
Thank
all right.
you.
Thank you, sir. All right then. That's all for today. Then I sign off for today. I'll see you on Wednesday again with another guest of ours. And till that, please take care of yourself and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we'll keep coming back with guests uh, for more knowledge and more learning. Thank you so much.